I've got to preface this video by saying a few things right off the bat. Firstly, there is a big storm going on right now in British Columbia where I am located, and as a result, the thunder has been kind of interrupting my previous few takes, and I've been trying to restart and all that, but now it feels like the thunder and the rain has started to wear off a little bit, so if there's any disturbances, I apologize for that. Secondly, this video is not serious. No, it's really not. Please don't take what we're talking about in this video as gospel, because we're just gonna dissect a few fan comments that I wanted to read out here and just discuss the overall level of cynicism and how it's not really all too applicable, in my opinion, to what we have here. Just a few overreactions, you know, this is kind of just a funny, chilled, laid-back video, not really super serious, so that is out of the way as well. Thirdly, thank you to those in the previous Red Wings video who commented Regla BK. If you want a chance to be featured in the next video, then hey, stick around to the end of this one. But we're talking today about Anthony Mantha once again, and I read a post that I found on the Red Wings subreddit highlighting what appears to be the honeymoon phase coming to an end with Anthony Mantha, the former Detroit Red Wing that was traded over to Washington for Jakub Vrana, Richard Panik, and a few other things as well. We all kind of know the story here. Mantha was a Red Wings guy. Mantha was a good Red Wings player. Mantha was a guy who got a good contract, and after that, I mean, he wasn't really the same player. I mean, we always kind of knew that he could be the same player. It's just the biggest issue with his entire game was always consistency. And so after he got traded over to Washington, Red Wings fans were like, okay, great, we've got this Jakub Vrana guy, he's pretty good, Panik is here, we got a whole bunch of picks, really good haul here from Stevie Y, and with the Anthony Mantha side of the coin, hey, Washington Capitals fans were loving this guy when he suited up for the Caps. He was a point-per-game guy. Early on, he kicked off his career in Washington with a goal and an assist. He produced pretty well, and we had a lot of Capitals fans saying, darn, at the very least, we have this cap certainty with Mantha here, and that is a good thing because this is a guy who does kind of mesh well when he is not supposed to be the number one player on this team. So hey, good acquisition here for the Caps. In Game 1 of the playoffs, he ended up getting himself an assist against the Boston Bruins in Game number 2. No points, but that is not where our story takes us. Let's go over onto the Detroit Red Wings subreddit and take a look at this post over here that I wanted to highlight. It's posted by a user named Maximus91. The honeymoon with Mantha is over in Washington. Now, this post is a screenshot of the Washington Capitals subreddit and what some of the fans over there have to say about Anthony Mantha himself. Now, I know how weird this might sound. Okay, we're screenshotting the Capitals subreddit and posting that screenshot on the Red Wings subreddit, but I mean, it is what it is. Let's take a look at what some Capitals fans are saying about Anthony Mantha and highlighting how this honeymoon may have indeed come to an end. The comments talking about how Nick Backstrom is playing with more grit than Anthony Mantha. Okay, that's not really the biggest thing in the world. I mean, Mantha is a big guy. Mantha is a physical specimen that can be a little bit more pushy when he wants to be. Nick Backstrom, though, he's no pushover. I don't want to make it seem like Nick Backstrom is this angelical kind of piece of glass that you can't get into contact with, because that's kind of what this comment is implying here. The next comment after this says, the honeymoon is well over. Every complaint about Mantha from Wings fans have shown off to be at least a bit true. But if he can score, whatever. With his assist tonight in his first career playoff game, Mantha passed Vrana in playoff points since the Caps Cup run, and that's 0 points in 15 games for Vrana. And before we continue into the biggest comment here, yeah, you know, those complaints about Mantha have been said around Detroit for years, even back before this guy was drafted. Here's a comment on the Red Wings subreddit post. I know it's getting kind of confusing here, but it's been a critique for Mantha since he was a kid in juniors, and it's why he was drafted where he was at 20th as opposed to a top 10 pick. There were scouts saying that he looked better than McKinnon at times, but then he would just disappear in a game or for a handful of shifts. This comment here from Jams03 says he's going to be fine in Washington, and he's played fine, so while yes, they gave up a considerable amount of assets to get him, this year is really their last shot to win again, so it's completely worth it. Going back over to the complaints, though, that's kind of what it has been, you know, consistency. When he wants to be, Mantha can be the best player on the ice, it's just, you know, does he really want to be that half the time? Here's the next comment here. The absolute novel, as people have been referring to, analyzing how Mantha has been with the Capitals. Nobody was a bigger fan of the trade than the commenter here, and nobody has been more critical of him since. His first few games he was getting used to it all and he had some puck luck, but since then he's been slow and lethargic, rather than just conservative with his movements. He's not letting the play come to him. He's just watching it go up the ice like a spectator. He's not getting his shots on net, and I still think his stick flex is way too high, but he's also not making good passes. He's not a turnover machine, and his IQ is there, but he's a bit too fancy, and when it doesn't work out, he's not recovering well enough. Okay, what in the world? We're talking about stick flexes, eh? Man, I'm not sure Mantha ever received that kind of criticism when he was here in Detroit, but moving on. He needs to move his feet and rely less on his reach. His stick lift is incredibly good and effective. What I really want to see from him is getting separation and creating that space to become a shooting option and start firing everywhere he can on goal. He keeps trying to screen the goalie. The problem with this is our D-men aren't shooting it, they're dumping it back into the corners, and our center is looking for a passing lane to a shooter. This really doesn't create a chance for Mantha to do anything. If the shot never comes for a deflection rebound, then there's a little bit more analysis over here. It's really deep, they're really starting to get into the Mantha overall psychology and what he's doing out there on the ice. And to be fair, this is just a handful of a few people on the Capitals subreddit, screenshotted, of course, put onto the Red Wings subreddit. Some of the comments here on the Red Wings side of things are saying, okay, he had the 4th most time on ice for a forward, an assist, 1 shot, a block shot, and 4 hits. What else can he do? Seems a bit ridiculous to complain about that after a win, which, the Capitals did get done in game number 1. We do have some defense, though. This is Caps Drago 7. He says that yeah, this is kind of just normal cynicism for the Capitals subreddit. This commenter says he personally loves Mantha so far. Vrana and Panik were not going to produce here. He thinks he just needs to get his scoring mindset back. He got a little too focused on trying to force the puck to our stars like Ovi instead of just shooting it himself, but that is such a small thing. He's the exact kind of player we need. And so heading into the next few games 3, 4, 5, and all that, against the Boston Bruins, we'll really start to see how exactly Mantha is going to adapt to the pressure, because it's already been documented here. He hadn't played a single playoff game with the Red Wings, because when Mantha came here into the NHL, the Red Wings were already starting out that rebuild, and you know how things go. Rebuilds don't normally involve the playoffs. So for Mantha, though, heading into what are probably the most important games he has ever played in his NHL career, and not being perfect, it makes a lot of sense as to why he wouldn't be the best he could be, but we all know there is that other gear that is unlockable with time and with effort for Mantha specifically. I thought the fit was a great one with the Washington system, putting him in a spot where he wasn't supposed to be the best player on the ice like he was in Detroit. Now that you have Ovi and Oshie and Backstrom and Kuzi in front of you on the depth chart, it becomes a lot easier to play your game in a way that is not heavily scrutinized and put under a microscope like many fans in Detroit would. So for Mantha, again, I've said this the entire time, it's going to be okay, he's going to be fine, he's locked up for a long time, and he's going to proceed his career as a positively effective NHL scorer. And even though he's at 1 assist in the game 1 that he played, people are still going to find ways to criticize him. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, isn't it? Again, I said this video wasn't really serious, so talk to me in the comments what you thought about these overall ideas. It's just kind of fun, not really getting too deep in there. Obviously, I'm no analyst, I'm just reading comments that people are saying online, so there isn't really all too much substance behind this, but still, I thought it would be fun to talk about this on the YouTube channel regardless. So, talk to me in the comments what you think about all this stuff. Comment down in the comment section below. Panic at the Disco if you made it to the end, because I'm thinking about the Mantha trade, which had Richard Panik in it, and Panik is kind of like Panic, and Panic is like, yeah, Panic at the Disco. Talk to me in the comments what you think. If you enjoyed this video, 99, and bye.